Hi trader, this is Chris with the weekly video where I take a look at the potential movements in the second half of 2015 as we reach the end of June. That will be done on the euro dollar, specifically pound dollar, dollar yen, and AUD USD. Before we dive into the details, please be aware that this video is intended for a global audience. It may not be suitable for everyone. Please visit animalmarketsglobal.com, select your country of residence, and contact an appropriate entity to find out more about that and conditions and details. Also, trading foreign exchange and other financial markets is considered high risk and may not be suitable for all traders and investors. Therefore, please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. This video is for educational and informational purposes only, and by continuing watching this video, you agree with the disclaimer. Alright, first of all, AUD USD daily chart. I'm not a big fan of this price action at the moment, just because of the slow, kind of choppy price movement that is going sideways at the moment. There is an attempt to break through the support line. You can see prices trying to go through it. We have multiple levels, actually horizontal levels here, about 75, 75.50, that are important as well. So for me at this moment, I'm not too interested in trading the Aussie unless it really breaks below 75, 75.25 with some good momentum, and then look for a hook back for more downside. Otherwise, I'm not interested in this Aussie at this moment. Unless it either breaks below 75 or perhaps if it manages to push above this trend line, for instance, this resistance line, and break above, well, probably roughly 77.50 as well. Those would be levels that I would be interested in looking for bullish continuation. So whereas the Aussie, I'm neutral between 75 and 77.50, and start to become a bit interested in perhaps looking for trades above it and below it. The pound dollar is different from my point of view. It is in a strong momentum to the upside. It had a pretty good sizable uptrend, but last week we saw a big retracement and no continuation as I would expect. So what happened? Well, basically we retraced very deeply, and we hardly had a bounce. Actually, we did have a bit of a bounce finally at about the 61.8 fib, I think it was, of the weekly chart when putting a fib on the candle. Let me do that right now. In fact, you can see that putting a fib from here to here, and price stopped at the 61.8. So from that point of view, this is a pretty crucial spot, because if price breaks below 156, I don't consider it much of an uptrend anymore, and I would say that the price is in a bearish trend at the moment. At this moment, I'm still cautious for the upside. I mean, I'm still looking for the upside, I should say. And especially if it manages to break above this resistance spot, these fractals here that are right at the moving averages, that's about 157.50. Once that breaks, then I start to see price in a bullish territory. So 156, this bottom basically here, this green line, if it breaks below that, I'm starting to become cautious with this uptrend. But if it actually breaks above 157.50 and it breaks above this moving average band, then it's kind of confirming the bullish momentum that I was expecting last week, and it would finally arrive this week. So those are my crucial levels that I'm keeping an eye on. If it does break above 157.50, I would be looking for a direct entry order at that level with a stop loss below this bottom, which is maybe a bit spacious, or would look for intra-week / intraday smaller setups on lower time frames for that upside. Downside, personally, I would not trade immediately, but if it does show a good momentum breaking through, I would look on lower time frames for a hook back and then try to find the follow through. Next on the list is the euro dollar and dollar yen. But before I dive into those currency pairs, please be aware of these webinars, a great lineup. Nenad's going to take a look at the weekly FX recap today. Then on Wednesday, he's going to take a look at hike and actually price action. Tuesday and Wednesday, I myself take a look at Camarilla, and then strategy on Wednesday. And then Thursday, Ned and I together take a look at dangers with new Forex trading systems and how you can avoid those dangers as well. So that's coming up on Thursday, the 2nd of July. All right, finally, the euro dollar. Obviously, of course, the euro in the big picture here with the news, we see basically the problems with the negotiations between Greek and the creditors. So there could be a lot of news connected to that this week, and pretty volatile movements just based on those news events. So that, of course, could be dominating this week's price action and this week's headlines, and there could be a lot of difficulties with trading the euro in general this week. Got to be careful with trading the euro and any of those pairs, like the euro dollar. And we can see that the euro moved down a lot over the weekend, after the weekend, and is now hanging around 110. Overall, I think it's just a pretty choppy price action at this point. We got this resistance line. We have support still around here and here. So from that point of view, I do believe that from a technical side of things, we could maybe retest the bottoms a bit more, fall a bit lower, but then there is support levels out here, right? So there could be a bouncing spot. But I say with a lot of emphasis on could, because of the fundamentals and the news events in general, that will be probably more important for price than technicals this week. So it's a difficult situation, difficult structure to review and to trade. We'll be very careful with that. But from a technical point of view, it looks like price is going back to support, if anything, but it could have a bit more continuation to go. Now, if we look at the sentiment trader here, for instance, you can see clearly that the shorts are dominating, of course, due to the news events that have occurred over the weekend. But from a technical point of view, once we maybe push a bit lower down to test this bottom, I would not be surprised to see a bounce at that spot. More importantly, though, from a long-term perspective, I'm still looking for this to be a wave 4, which means that price typically goes to the 38.2 fib often enough. Therefore, from a wave perspective, I would not be surprised to see price go up to 117 for wave 4, then start to fall drastically down to the minus 272 target, which is below parity, and just make that continuation fall of the downtrend on the weekly chart. Euro dollar, of course, strongly in a downtrend on this weekly chart. So something like this, up and then down, is what I'm expecting in the next few months. All right, so that whether that upside will happen, I guess, will depend on whether the creditors and Greece find a deal together. I can't imagine it actually making the euro dollar making it to 117 if it doesn't. But technically, this is what I was expecting. Whether the news will fit and push price to the 38.2 fib remains to be seen. But ultimately, the downside, I think, will continue either immediately or after hitting the 38.2 fib, because this downtrend was so strong that I'm expecting a follow-through eventually of the downside, either in July, August, or September. All right, last but not least, the dollar-yen trying to push through this 122.50 bottom, and if it does, there could be some space here, some bearish space down to the minus 272 target and the minus 61.8 target there. Tried to break already through it in intraday trading, but did see a bit of a bounce once it tried to go through here, as you can see, kind of gapped down and rebounded up. So let's see how it behaves when it approaches the bottom yet again. But from this point of view, choppy price action, kind of tight range that is about to be broken or not, maybe a bounce or break spot at this point. If it does break, then basically a continuation down to 120 is something that I'll be looking for, and would be trying to trade the dollar yen to the downside down to support, and we can see support kicking in around that minus 61.8 target, or perhaps even lower, the minus 1000 target, where we have this bottom in place as well. Thanks for joining this video heads up of the upcoming week. Hope to see you in the webinars. Looking forward to that, and wish you all good trading. Cheers.